What's going on, guys? The other day, I did a video on what to look out for, the weak trait to look out for in men, and that was cowardly tendencies. Oh man, man, it made me laugh just saying it. Looking for cowardly tendencies in men, right? And I had a few people write into me and stuff, which is cool and everything. I appreciate that. But you know what? I go in on men and women, all right? I go in on men and women. I don't just focus on one, man, all right? So right now I'm going to talk about, what's the weak trait to look out for in women, right? Which basically is, a combination of things. It's a combination of things. It's hard to pinpoint just one thing that can be wrong with guys and just one thing that's wrong with women, right? But let's get into it real quick. I'll try not to make this long, all right? But yeah, so with women, you got to look out for lack of support, all right? Which also means that she could also have a bad radar, all right? So, if you're a guy out there, man, you know what I'm saying? Like, at the end of the day, man, you're on your mission, you're on your purpose, you're really trying to make it in the world, you're trying to create some value. You one day want to be a father, you want to look after a household, you want to build a home, you know what I mean? All that kind of shit. You want to build a business, probably. We as men, we're builders, all right? But you know what we need? We need support. We can't do it on our own. You know what I'm saying? We can't do it on our own. And as the Bible says, as the Bible says, a man needs a woman to help him. So God created him a helpmeet, right? From his rib, right? So basically, man, on the real, men do need support from a woman, right? If your woman comes up to you, right? She comes up to you and she's like, kind of being like your eyes and ears, right? Just say she's like, saying shit like, hey, babe, when it comes to the business, maybe you should think about this or that, or, maybe she's bringing something to your attention, right? She wants to help you. You understand? And sometimes it might feel like she's overstepping, maybe she's entering a space that she shouldn't, but, at least she cares enough to want to see you succeed. You know what I'm saying? So she'll give you a little bit of a heads up with something. Women make some of the best advisors in the world, right? Like, they make great advisors to presidents, to commanders in the military, advisors in business. They make really good advisors because a woman's brain is always running. It's always working, right? She's thinking of a million things at once. As they say, women are very good multitaskers, right? Compared to men. Men are more like focused. We're like zoned in on the goal, right? So when you have a woman by your side who says, hey, babe, what about this? What about that? Oh, you missed this. What about that? She's bringing things to your attention, right? And you're like, oh, shit. Yeah, I didn't even think about that. Oh, damn. Okay, I missed that one. But when she's coming to you, like she wants to help you, she wants to support you, that's what you want, right? The weak trait I'm talking about is not having the ability to support her man. You understand? So you need to look out for that. If you come to her and she's trying to ask you like how your day was or whatever, and you're like, oh, blah, 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 and she just listens, doesn't say shit, and she don't really care, and she don't really be like, hey, she don't want to give you any advice or anything like that, then you got a problem, right? It means that she's not really, her brain isn't looking for survival. You understand? She's not looking to be constructive. You understand? Most women who are, I call the term low-toned, are quite destructive. Maybe because they grew up in a family that was destructive and dysfunctional, and maybe they've been abused a lot. Maybe they have a lot of trauma they haven't worked out. Women like that are destructive. They're not supportive, and they're not constructive. You understand? So you need to look out for women. You need to look out for the weak trait in women that is basically lack of support, lack of survival, you know what I'm saying? Lack of problem solving. Even though men, we're problem solvers, right? We make the indecision in solving the problems. But the women, they bring the problem to us. You understand what I'm saying? And that's the raw truth. They say that. They say, there's a saying that women bring men problems to solve. But, you know, that can be drama. You gotta be careful. You gotta think of the difference between drama and a problem to solve. Because in a lot of cases, a problem to solve is there to help you to succeed and or to build something greater. You understand what I'm saying? So you as a man need to realize and go, okay, you know what? Is she trying to give me some value information, some valuable insight right now? Or is she trying to be destructive and give me drama that's going to cause me stress? You understand? You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, hope you get some value from this, man, on the real. We're going to delve deeper in this. It's a good topic. Because a lot of dudes were thinking I was just talking about going in on men. I've been in this game a long time, buddy. I've been in this game a long time. I go in on the women, too. You know what I'm saying? It's not just one gender or over the other. You know what I'm saying? It's both genders that fuck up in a lot of ways. You know what I'm saying? In relationships. So with men, you gotta make sure you're not a coward. You know what I mean? Be a man of integrity, man of your word. And as a woman, you need to be able to support your man and be an avenue of advice and help for your man who's trying to succeed in the world. You know what I'm saying? Hey, I'm gonna leave you with this analogy, right? On the chessboard, you have the king and you got the queen. But hey, who has the most moves? Who has the most power on the board? It's the queen, right? However, right, when the king goes down, the whole game's over, right? So you gotta think of it like that. The woman is the power player. You know what I'm saying? She protects the king. Boom, done. Hope you got some value from this. Peace.